team, it's your boy Neal back with another reaction video. We are back with our guy Edinger. The Queen has died. Here's a more American perspective. I'm very intrigued to hear his perspective, as I always am. And before we dive into this, I need you to dive into that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, give the video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You want to subscribe to any of that? Put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. I love talking to you guys, and I'm human. I talk back. If you got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Evan! What we got?
Hey there, thanks for stopping back on by my channel. My name is Evan Edinger, and today I join you from Green Park, right next to Buckingham Palace. There's no way I could get anywhere near there today. Didn't realize today is a very important cultural day. You'll see the entire time I'm filming, there'll be people walking across shots. They're currently on their way to leave flowers as close as they can get to Buckingham Palace right over that way, because Elizabeth II has just recently passed away, and they're carting her coffin all around London this week. That is something that's happening, so if you wish to go see the coffin, see her, you have the right to do so. You have to wait 48 hours in a 10-mile queue, but you can do this thing. This is something that I kind of...
48 hours in a 10-mile queue? Oh, my Lord.
Wait 48 hours in a 10-mile queue, but you can do this thing. This is something that kind of blows my mind. It wasn't something I was really expecting. But I got some comments last week from people saying they were very disappointed in me for not uploading my opinion on the passing of the Queen.
Wow.
It's a bit of a murky one. I do have opinions on it, but whether or not I'm legally allowed to share them is a bit weird. You know, I did leave the US, land of the free, home of the brave, where we are drilled into us since childhood, you know, some very strong brainwashing. You gotta be nationalistic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And in Spanish, prometo fidelidad a la bandera. Like, it's crazy, really crazy.
I ain't even, hey, my boy hitting it in Spanish. Shout out, Evan. Okay, Evan. All right, keep it going.
And in Spanish, prometo fidelidad a la bandera. Like, it's crazy, really crazy. But in the UK, that doesn't happen. You don't really have to do any of these crazy, stupid, nationalistic pledges or songs all the time. It's few and far between. And so people are a bit more, I don't know, able to think for themselves, you would think here. But that being said, when you want to become a British citizen as an immigrant, you actually do have to make a similar oath to one that is done in the US every single day as a child. In fact, sure, when you decide to be a citizen, you do have to swear an oath of allegiance to the UK. That's fair enough. You know, if you're trying to become a citizen, it would make sense to swear allegiance to the country, to be like, are you in this for reals? Yes. But as a recent-ish addition, you also have to swear fealty to the crown, to the Queen Elizabeth II and her heirs for all eternity. If you've seen my citizenship video, this is what I had to do. I, Evan Edinger, swear by Almighty God that on becoming a British citizen, I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, according to law. And I find that a bit messed up. Why? Well, for the most part, it means that immigrants aren't really allowed to have opinions against the monarchy. In order to become a citizen, you have to swear an oath to protect the Queen and her heirs for all eternity, almost like that's your ticket in. British citizens, normal British citizens, the ones that are born and raised here, do not have to make this promise, do not have to make this oath. They are legally allowed to have an opinion. There's so many people I know that are anti-monarchist, that are...
That's it's an interesting perspective because you don't think about these types of things. That's very interesting to think about. To swear fealty to the Queen and to protect all of her heirs and all of that. Whereas if you're born there, you don't have to make that pledge. You don't have to make that oath. You don't have to make that promise. So, like you said, you can have those different opinions. But him as an American moving to the UK, he was conflicted because it's like he may not agree with a lot of British people on the Queen's death, but is he allowed to disagree? Is kind of seems like where he's going.
They are legally allowed to have an opinion. There's so many people I know that are anti-monarchist, that are Republican, lowercase r, in which they believe that this is a very outdated notion to have this king and queen sort of thing still going on in the 21st century. Maybe you can keep the tradition, but not necessarily for taxpayer dollars or pounds. But the fact that as an immigrant, I'm not necessarily allowed to have this opinion because I had to swear an oath.
I said it. I be me and Evan. I be on his brainwaves. I be on his brainwaves sometimes, so I be understanding where he going.
The fact that as an immigrant, I'm not necessarily allowed to have this opinion because I had to swear an oath is a bit bizarre. As much as Americans love bragging about their freedom of speech all over the place, it is something that is they have every right to be proud of. You know, the fact that, I don't know if you've seen the news this week, but a man shouted at the car that Prince Andrew was in, "You're a sick old man," and got arrested.
Are you
Got
serious?
arrested for shouting at a monarch's brother who's an alleged pedophile. Okay.
What?
What world do I live in? That's some.
Did he throw something or do something violent other than saying that? He had to like push somebody or something.
Alleged pedophile. Okay. What world do I live in? That's some crazy shit. Especially because anytime you try and say the monarchy should be not a thing anymore, people go, "Oh, it's just a thing. It's not like a real thing. They don't actually own power. It's all just for show." Oh, really? So, but you can't say anything against a ruler or their siblings, or you get arrested. This isn't just a one-off.
This is wild. This is
a ruler or their siblings, or you get arrested. This isn't just a one-off case, by the way. It's such an interesting dichotomy between the U.S. and the U.K., and it makes me really upset that this is the freedoms that we have. Because as much as people might say, like, "Oh, I wish we had more freedoms in the UK," I always go like, "Oh, you want to use hate speech?" Like, I am never usually affected by the sort of laws that are against free speech in the UK. I do find it a bit upsetting that there are certain things you can't even joke about without risking going to jail. But the fact that you can't even make a passing comment to an incredibly 0.001% rich ruling class person without being arrested, it puts a bad taste in my mouth. And so, no, I don't really support the monarchy, not really, but if I had to say I did because otherwise I'd get kicked out of the country, what kind of country do I live in? You know, it's really made me question a lot of things, to be very honest with you. I've heard so many interesting NPC conversations walking around this area, just old couples going, "Oh, I've got my Charles and Diana mug. Oh, I don't have that one. I have the Silver Jubilee mug." They're treating these people like they're Pokemon, like these experiences of these rich people who get to experience all the extreme wealth that we as taxpayers are able to give to them. They're collectibles, collectible items. Who's excited for the next edition, where we get to spend billions of dollars changing our currency until the next monarch inevitably dies?
Dang, Evan, I'm digging it. I'm rocking with your perspective. I understand. It's like where you put these people on a pedestal as if they're higher than life, but you treat them like Pokemon, like you're collecting all these things from different kings and queens and all of that. And so I understand where he's coming from with that. But it costs billions of dollars to switch the currency.
Next edition, where we get to spend billions of dollars changing our currency until the next monarch inevitably dies because they are human beings. I do think that with the Queen's passing, we probably have a much higher chance now of the dissolution of the monarchy. She was such a steadfast stone. Everyone relied on her as, you know, sure, we had some bad prime ministers and bad governments throughout the years, but we always had that queen. Now that she's gone, I don't think people like Charles that much. You've seen season 4 of The Crown, right? Or I don't know, lived through it?
Not yet.
I know a lot of that stuff's made up, but still. Just an interesting...
I'm on season 2. I will get there.
Or I don't know, lived through it? I know a lot of that stuff's made up, but still. Just an interesting Britain that we all currently live in, and it's just, this isn't scripted or anything, as you can obviously tell. I just thought this was something I wanted to share and talk about at this current moment in time. I'd much rather the society in which I live in have a governmentally, constitutionally protected freedom of speech rather than, oh, it depends. Also weird that the entire UK is expected to shut down because the Queen has died. Sure, it is good to mourn for someone that you feel like in your parasocial relationship with her, you knew. She was your bestie. She was your grandma, as they say. But yet we shouldn't be discouraging, I don't know, cancer treatments from going on that Monday. And
hospital appointments and funerals canceled for Queen? Hold on! We can't cancel these appointments. Not the hospital appointments. Time out. Thousands of theaters, museums, retailers, or even food banks will also be closed down.
Be discouraging, I don't know, cancer treatments from going on that Monday and just canceling loads of people's hospital appointments and telling people not to cycle in honor of the Queen's passing. I don't know, normal people have jobs. Normal people still have to get to their jobs, whether that be cycling or not. It's just, like I said, a very weird time in Britain right now, and I find it incredibly bizarre, especially because I don't know what everybody else is thinking. I'm here sharing this opinion, which is going to be met with loads of flack because I'm not sucking royalty dick, and I'm also not completely telling everybody the royalty is horrible. Just, you can't be in the middle in this day and age.
You can't be a fence sitter, Evan. Yeah. In this day and age, they gonna make you pick a side. They're gonna make you pick a side, my guy. You can't sit on the middle of the fence.
Everybody, the royalty is horrible. Just, you can't be in the middle in this day and age. I'm not in the middle, but you can't be not extremely polarized. It's just not allowed. I do find the practice of people worshiping the royals and their families very weird. I feel like we have that idol worship in the US as well, but it's for people like the Kardashians. And you know what? If you want to spend your entire life just finding out what people do in the tabloids, whether that be Kardashians or whether that be people who were born into a system in the UK to have extreme wealth, okay. But to force it on other people and make everybody have to pay tax money to make their wealth even bigger because tradition sounds a bit silly. We've canceled a lot of things in the past due to tradition. I don't think that's a good excuse. Obviously, it's a time of mourning for the nation, and that's what they're trying to do. But they shouldn't necessarily be trying to completely bring everyone's lives to a standstill. Obviously, it's important for people to mourn the loss of the Queen. I do think that we should, be respectful of that. But also, we should also have the right to not be respectful of that. All right, I am in the sun. I need to turn. There we go. So I am interested in hearing your thoughts. But whether you're British or not, I'd love to hear your opinion on everything that's happened basically this week, how you think it will play out in the future, and whether or not this freedom of speech thing you think is going to be a couple one-offs, or we're going to be hearing that a lot more often. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next Sunday. Goodbye.
I think that was a very interesting perspective that he gave. Pastor, jack of all trades, master of pun. That's funny. But a very interesting perspective. I hadn't heard this perspective yet. Seen a lot of videos on the Queen's death where a lot of people didn't like the Queen. A lot of people definitely loved the Queen. But to hear a perspective from an American who moved to the UK, that was different. And it seems like he definitely doesn't agree with a lot of things that are just tradition there. As far as where the monarchy is concerned, and taxpayers' dollars just going to make them wealthier, which I can understand. I feel like every country definitely has their own problems, and he felt like, of course you should mourn Queen Elizabeth II's passing, but you should also have the right not to mourn if that's what you choose not to. Like, your life shouldn't be put on standstill just because she passed, is kind of what it seems like he was saying. He probably did get a lot of flack for that. I could see him getting a lot of flack for that. That's all we got for this one. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel. Ring notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You don't subscribe to any of it, put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link. Follow me. Talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy Neal. Out.